Hi everyone, my name is Royi Metser. I'm the Business Development Manager at Inside Tracker. So Inside Tracker is a personalized nutrition company, and our mission is to help people live longer, better lives with nutrition and lifestyle. So your question, how is wellness influencing business and becoming a greater component of the workplace? So we really see two trends that are happening in the market. The first is that wellness has really become a status symbol. And we've seen that really happen over the last 5 or 10 years, and nutrition is really a key component of that. Healthy eating, and we've seen the rise of healthy eating in the market with the rise of organic foods and healthy eating options. But you also see it with the rise of athleisure clothing and boutique fitness and other trends like that. So we really see consumers driving demand for wellness solutions. And as a result, employees driving demand for wellness in the workplace. And then the second trend that we're seeing is really the rise of corporate wellness programs. And that's really a reflection of companies recognizing the importance of wellness and helping their employees become healthier. And also the result of large corporations shifting from fully insured to self-insured health plans, and of course the skyrocketing healthcare costs that we're seeing out there. So large companies are really recognizing that wellness needs to be a priority and trying to provide benefits to their employees. And so we think that technology is going to be key in delivering those solutions. And really the two biggest challenges that I think are out there that we see is driving engagement, first of all, with these wellness programs for employees, and compliance. And so we think technology is going to be really key to solving those two challenges. So there's many really great companies that are working on delivering corporate wellness programs, and our approach is going to be to hopefully partner with those companies to help bring a better wellness solution to the market and help employees take more control of their health and make better decisions.
Still on fire. Hey everyone. Hey everyone, my name is Derek. I started a company called 10% Happier a couple years ago in Boston. We are a meditation app. So it was about 2.5 years ago we started. We work with a journalist / author named Dan Harris, who does a lot of making fun of himself and meditation despite being a dedicated meditator. And we couple him with some of the best meditation teachers in the land, who the combination of the two ends up being this kind of fun ride into the depths of meditation and what it is and how to make it fit your life and why it's interesting and all that kind of stuff. So we have a lot of fun in the meditation arena. I'm not going to say too much different, so I'll keep it short, but it's we work with one of the biggest employers on earth, and there's just a growing awareness now around the 4 pillars of health: diet, exercise, sleep, and stress, if I had to boil it down. And they're looking for ways to engage their employees, and employees are asking for ways to be engaged around each of those things. And so I think you see a cool panel of folks up here who are all involved in some capacity in helping employers help their employees. So for all of the reasons Shree just gave. So it's fun to be a part of, and excited to share what we're going to learn along the way.
Wonderful. So thanks, Shakti, for having us. It's a great initiative, and it's a great example of where the awareness is going as well, right? So obviously there is a lot of interest in corporate wellness. Well, I'm going to say my source of information about corporate wellness and wellness programs is Nick's blog. So definitely check it out, Wellable.co. He writes really well, and they also have really cool data that I use in all my talks. So thank you for writing it. I run a company, New Lab, and we also run a nonprofit mass yoga meditation, and we thought it was necessary to build it because we take that 10 minutes time out for meditation, and not everybody gets the experience. And after meditating and teaching traditional meditation for years, I realized that's because we don't take the time out to prepare ourselves for meditation. And so that's why we design programs that you could easily integrate with your life, like 1-minute activities, 2-minute activities. They're very high impact meditation techniques. And so we design those programs that you could use with any app you have or any traditional practice you have. With that, I'm going to give it to you.
Well, thank you. I'm going to second Shree, and I say all the answers that you need tonight, just go to Wellable. And everyone else here too. Hi everyone, my name is Kit, and I am the owner of 3 cats. How many of you have pets? My cats and I, we have a cat issue. They can never be in the same room, and it has been 6 or 7 months. So I have at least 10 different books on cats, watched like 10 different documentaries. A month ago, we had to call a cat consultant. And so one of the questions, that I asked her, how do you really help people with cats? And her question to me back was, what is your definition of a good home for a cat? Because your definition of a good home for a cat is different for you and the cat, right? It's also the same thing of saying, what's your definition of fun? Your definition of fun is different from my definition of fun. So I think even talking about wellness is first, what's the definition of wellness in your organization? What does it mean for you? Because we all have a different definition of wellness. It could be mindfulness. It could be, just health. So 2 years ago, Google did a big study. They spent millions of dollars and a bunch of time on this, and they wanted to find out what made the best teams. At first, they thought it was who were in the team. Was it introverts versus extroverts? Is it the people who are the best? And what they found out was something that actually surprised them. It was not who were in the team, but how the team functioned. And so, of course, they listed 5 characteristics. The first one is something called psychological safety. Do people in the team feel safe to speak up? Do people in the team feel safe to make mistakes? That is what wellness means to me. I teach communication skills. And at any time, do you and your employees understand how to feel free to just speak up and make mistakes? Because if you can, and you have the psychological safety, and then we can start the conversation of what does it mean for you to be in this organization? What does, really, if we can't even define what wellness, well, sometimes it's usually, okay, we're going to define wellness for you, but sometimes we forget to include our conversational partner in the conversation at the same time.
Hey everyone, I'm Nick from Wellable. We're an employee wellness technology company, so we help companies of all different types of sizes deploy employee wellness programs through our software within the organization. In terms of corporate wellness, I think there's really kind of 2 buckets of companies that go out and launch a program. The companies like the CIC that are progressive, they're doing this for decades now, that recognize the value, they recognize, in the case of CIC that has members, but the value of those members being productive, healthy, and really living prosperous and thriving lives. And those individuals make up, called 10 to 20% of the companies out there today. And then there's a remaining 80%, and where we see this big growth and this big push in corporate wellness with that 80% that haven't adopted solutions or augmenting or expanding their programs. I find that they're doing it because they're being driven by the individual, right? So, as you said, going back to your cat analogy, right? What makes wellness great for one cat is different for the next cat, right? And so we see that together in kind of these programs, and what we do and the way we try to address that is we build a technology and a platform that says, every company, every person within your company is unique. They have unique goals, they have unique interests, they have different desires, and then each company being comprised of unique individuals, they have unique objectives, right? Some of them are really trying to extract some type of financial return. Some are saying, we want to retain and attract the best talent, and we know those individuals are asking for these type of benefits. So whatever that reason, that they go on lengthy from productivity to kind of keeping up with the Joneses. So Facebook has benefits, we want to add it as well. Allowing those individuals in those companies and unique kind of objectives thrive is what we're seeing in the corporate wellness market today.
Thank you. That's awesome. The next question is, what problem are you solving with your company? And how are you innovating solutions to the problems that you're seeing?
And David, could we start?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so it's actually a good segue to what I just mentioned before. But we kind of operate on a number of pillars that we try to really weave into the software platform that we deliver. The biggest piece is customizability, right? So we don't have an out-of-the-box solution. In many ways, that's caused problems for us because employers just tell us what to do, or just give us something we should turnkey, make it work. And what we hear from our clients, two companies that could be very similar on paper, same size, same industry, operating the same geography, same demographics, they want wildly different programs. And so kind of inherent in our software is that you can kind of build that program from scratch, right? So if someone wants to create a very kind of basic step challenge that runs once a quarter, they could do that. We have other groups integrating their program with their benefits, of giving health savings accounts dollars and contributions, and really tying their whole health benefit package with a wellness program. The second piece is this consumer movement, right? So back when we first started, Fitbit just had the Fitbit Zip. So if you guys remember that, it's like literally the one that you kind of put in your pocket, you may have lost it. They had one product, now they have 20 different SKUs. But they were at the cusp of what would be this huge consumer movement, right? MyFitnessPal hadn't started when we started. All these companies took off, and they all made big kind of waves and big kind of adoption from a number of users, and they all happen in the consumer market. And that consumer market is alive, it's thriving, more people are active in those communities than our employee wellness programs. So our viewpoint is, how do you capture those consumer technologies into products? At the time, we were kind of unique. Now every company does that. They all integrate with Fitbit, they all integrate with MyFitnessPal, but we find that to be kind of a make or break feature for many companies out there. And the last piece is wellness is complicated, right? So the people who are often in charge of wellness, CIC is a progressive company. Not everyone has a Shakti who thinks about wellness. How do we execute it? It's often that HR manager who has a million different things on their plate. At some point, they were said, oh, by the way, this is another priority and we care a lot about it. Go run it. They don't necessarily have expertise in wellness. They may not be personally passionate about it, things like that. So we layer on across our software and account management layer of people who quite literally run wellness programs for livings. We obviously blog a ton, as been mentioned a couple of times, both to educate ourselves, educate our employees, educate our clients, but to really kind of think about best practices and how we implement those in the program. And so we obviously built our product around those needs because we find those needs not met in the market. So.
Thank you. Last week I had two clients in a workshop. One was named Mary and the other one was named Kay. It takes a while to get that. And so Mary came in and her manager sent her there because she needed to work on her communication skills because she was making everyone cry. She was one of these people that when she sees something's wrong, she's going to tell you, just like that. And then Kay came in because she did not want to make people cry. She cared about people's emotions too much. She could not tell them the truth because she just cared about them too much. What I usually do is I try to help you become more you through advancing your communication and public speaking skills. Because sometimes we have thoughts in our heads, we go over every single day, and then when we say it to someone, only one version of that comes out. Most of the issues that we have at work, most people get a divorce or they leave their work because they don't know how to communicate their values. What I do is just to bring that out and to leave it out in the open, and so we can just know what it's on our minds.
See, today there are two ways you can learn meditation. One is the traditional way. You can find a guru and follow their path and go for years and then learn it. Another way is go on YouTube and try to find something, and then you try. The thing is, I've been teaching for over a decade now, and I meet people who say, meditation doesn't work for me. It's just not my thing. Or some people say, I run, I don't meditate. And then I get totally speechless because I know that running and meditation are not even comparable anyway. But then why do people think so? For meditation, all you need is a mind and a body, that's it. And then why wouldn't it work for somebody when it's something so beautiful and you need it like food? And so, you know, I studied UX design as my profession in school, and so I did all this user research, and I figured out that it's not that people don't want to meditate or they don't like meditating. There's not just that exposure, that right exposure that you need to do it. Lives are so demanding these days, so you cannot expect anybody to just take an hour out of your time and just figure out something, you know? And so, at first, you know, well, I grew up with people who meditated always. There was a significant time in my life when I had not met anyone who did not meditate. And so when I moved to the US, I met all these people and I started seeing their lives so busy. I realized that there's a genuine problem here. People are busy, and so we have to bring that traditional meditation effect to their lives without cutting down. See, there are so many apps out there, and some of them are really, really good. But some of them, I think, is just instead of classroom, you put the headphones and you bring that same tone or something in your living room, you put it on for 10 minutes, and then that's it. But then if randomly you take that time out of your life, can you get that experience? And that's what was happening with these people who say meditation doesn't work for them. You know, so what can we do to do that? Give them an opportunity to prepare for it. See, the key to a successful meditation is preparation. If you really studied with a master or a guru for 20 years, 19 years, they would teach you how to prepare your body and mind for meditation, and 1 year probably how to meditate. If you study the Bible of yoga and meditation, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, you know, it's most of it is about preparation, and then probably a couple of verses about how to meditate, because that is the key. And I think when all this marketing of meditation began, that part was not that marketable, so that was left out. And so what we're doing now is trying to solve that problem. So what is that preparation for meditation? Breathing in certain way, thinking in certain way, and there's nothing that we can take out of life, but if we can put in something, a little tweak around, that's what we're trying to do. So we recently designed a program called High Fives, High Impact 5 Techniques, and we are doing that with first responders and people in recovery. We're working with the government sector for that. It's partially sponsored by the Massachusetts government. So we are teaching that program, we're getting a lot of data, and we want to make those programs available for everyone. So that's the goal of our company, that's the problem we're solving.
That's awesome. My fire was stolen again. So I'll put a slightly different spin on it and build on something that Kit was just saying too, which is, I get a front row seat to the vast array of human neuroses, both through talking to all the customers that we get to talk to through building a meditation app, and from doing my own meditation, because my mind is insane. And it turns out that is not unique to me, fortunately, maybe. But our minds are insane. And Kit mentioned the voice, in your head, and you only get the chance to say one of them. One of the things that we talk about is just, we all have voices in our heads that tell us what to do, and they chase us out of bed every morning. They tell us how we should be and who we should act, and oh damn, you replay the conversation you have with your boss that you wish you had differently, or a significant other. And meditation is a tool for you to see that cacophony of insanity and to start picking it apart a little bit to understand what's useful. And so for me, a lot of our problem is I meet so many people who, as Shree mentioned, meditation is now a thing that people aspire to do, which was not the case 10 years ago. The same thing happened with yoga as well. It was, 20 years ago, it was the idea of stretching in a room with a bunch of other sweaty people in really close quarters was just not very interesting. And now it's so in vogue, and the same thing is happening with meditation. Sitting with your eyes closed, and what's that all about? And so it's, a lot of people aspire to do it, but they don't really know what it is. And so it's, how can we make this approachable and interesting and relevant to kind of me and my life and how I go about it? And so we do that through making fun of ourselves and the insanity of our minds, and the occasional swear word mixed in, just to cut against the grain of what traditional meditation imagery tends to be surrounded by. But we have a lot of fun doing it too. So And that's my short pitch on meditation and the problem that we're just trying to get it out there to more folks, because this is a technology that's evolved over the last several millennia, and it's incredibly useful once you're able to unpack it and give it a try.
So, Insight Tracker, our mission as a company is to transform the way that people eat, sleep, and move to live a longer, better life. And the problem that we're solving is really the result of, we believe there's a gap in care. That's really a result of the way that our current healthcare system is structured. And so we believe that the healthcare system really is great if you're broken. If you're sick, or if you have a chronic condition or an acute condition that you need to manage, or you need immediate care, it's great. Now, unfortunately, there's no gold standard place, we don't think, for people to turn if you're not truly broken, but you still have some sort of health or wellness objective you want to achieve, or a problem that you're looking to solve, and you're hoping to do it in a way where you use natural tools like nutrition and lifestyle. So our vision really is to empower people with the information, essential information that they need in order to take control of their own health and to improve their health and to achieve their health and wellness goals, and do it in a way that's ultra personalized to each individual, grounded only in the best available peer-reviewed science. So today there's so much conflicting information that's out there around the topics of nutrition and wellness and fitness. Every day it seems like there's a new diet that we should be following, or superfood that we need to be eating, or exercise regimen we should be following. And so it can be overwhelming for people to figure out what they should be doing for their unique situations. And so our approach really is to turn to peer-reviewed science in order to cut through all of that noise. And so again, providing people with information that's personalized, grounded in science, and that allows people to take control. And our approach has been to use technology to do that, and to build a software platform that's available and scalable to millions of people around the world. So that's really the goal that we're trying to achieve.
So, what would you recommend for early stage entrepreneurs looking to get into the wellness industry? So that would be a great question. Also, I wondered if you also have any scientific sort of backing on anything that, or you know that you want to share. I think that would be really valuable as well. You begin. Let's have Derek begin, because everybody keeps stealing his fire. So.
Sorry. So the question is, remind me. I lost the thread.
What would you recommend for early stage entrepreneurs looking to get into the wellness industry? Possibly. And also, if you also, I kind of like threw two questions in there. The other one was about any scientific research that you feel strongly about that you've come across. I'm just curious about that.
Yeah. I'll start. I'll take the easy road of early stage health entrepreneurs, which I know there are a few of up here and in the room. It's not easy. There are a lot of people out there who are working hard at this because it's really fun and really interesting, and it's really personally fulfilling. And the result is you have a huge flood of people who are all trying to do and work on similar stuff. And so there's just a lot around paying attention to what makes you unique and what makes you different. The biggest piece of advice that I give to all entrepreneurs, health entrepreneurs included, is just the importance of talking to your customers. And there's almost no limit. If there's one mistake that I see entrepreneur after entrepreneur play out, it's, yeah, we know our customers. Yes, we talk to our customers. And when you dig into how often that happens or how that happens, it's not surprising, and I'm not blaming entrepreneurs for this. I've been in these shoes before as well. It's really easy to let talking to people, your customers, your potential customers, go by the wayside behind all of the million things that you need to get done. But it's given how competitive the landscape is, the real insights don't really emerge unless you know your customers intimately. and I mean like intimately, that you're talking to them reasonably regularly about your product, just open-ended conversations. And it's the combination of that, what makes you unique and what thing are you bringing to the world, alongside a really deep empathy and understanding of your customers and who they might be and where they're going to come from, that will lead to really dramatic insights that allow you to stand above the rest of the folks. So anyway, I'm a million ideas on this, and I'm super passionate about it, but just please talk to your customers if you're starting a business or you're out there trying to figure out what the next business is for you to do. There's so many ways you can do it, and it can't be done enough. We're 5.5 years in, and we just did another 12 customer calls this week. We're doing a bit of a push around it, and I learn new stuff every time, and like I'm on the caffeine of just having talked to another group of customers today. And so anyway, that's my big piece of advice. I'll leave it at that.
So I was just talking about this to somebody, right? What is wellness industry? It's really interesting question. Anybody who grows herbs, to somebody who goes to corporate offices, teaches yoga, to somebody who sits in the Himalayas coming up with different kinds of homes, they all are wellness industry. So you see the challenge in front of you is also defining this industry and then making your place in it. So it's a it's a very interesting problem to solve. It like any other industry, if you're good at what you do, just be out there in front of your customers, in front of everybody, take every chance. Recently read an article about how to grow in an industry, right? So you also have to work a little bit to grow that industry. So this whole trend of destructing products and stuff, like say all these airline products that came up. So somebody was selling airline tickets and they would cut off all the costs and they would sell. So airlines had to compare to that until they stopped giving any free luggage. So for luggage, you have to still pay. So it wasn't really helping any consumers or any customers, neither the airline industry. So if you have a product like that, you might have a certain success and then it won't grow further in that. So if you're thinking about growing and doing something, make sure that you're helping the industry to grow. For our industry, I think it's the scientific research, as Shakti said. So we are spending a significant amount of time in gathering data on every single activity that we do, and also sharing that data with people, with other researchers who might want to do more work with it. So if you are into wellness, make sure you will be asked these questions as well. How does it work? And why does it work? And why does another thing work? And if you don't have answers to that, probably that would be a good starting point for your hobby. Because otherwise you still have a business to run.
Is there time for questions from the audience? Yeah, we'll have some questions at the end. Okay.
Actually, a question for all of you. Are any of you trying to get into the wellness industry or in the wellness industry? Oh, that's great. I have two things. One of my good mentors, he's the chicken and rice guy. He's the founder of Chicken and Rice. And every single time I meet him, he only says one thing to me. He said, "Kid, are you focusing?" And as any entrepreneur, I'm like, no, I'm not focusing. So many things at once. At the end of the day, if you were invited to Oprah, and Oprah said, "What do you do?" Can you tell people what you do, and can they remember you very easily? Like again, there's so many people going to so many things. Can you, so, some people are like, can you niche it? Some people can say, can you make it broader? I would say, can people remember you very easily for what you do? And can people respect you in that field? The second thing I have to say, some of you have heard of this before, your vibe attracts your tribe. I got that on Facebook. So, at the end of the day, can people really see you or your organization, and can they feel that personality from you? At the end of the day, if you want to work with any corporate, any client, right? They choose sometimes. Why do they choose people to work in your office? Because you guys can bond together. You guys are in the same culture, and at the same time, right? If I want to hire a fitness instructor, I want one who will push me out of my comfort zone. That might not be the same for you, but I want that vibe. Can you get that vibe, and can you attract your clients that way?
I could probably spend all day talking about things you want to do if you want to be a startup entrepreneur or whatnot. But the two things I'll mention, one is really focus on your team. So I'm looking in the crowd now, see a bunch of people I work with, and I don't tell you guys all the time, but every day I'm blessed to have you guys on the team. I can't tell you how many times, whether it's on a panel and people are mentioning the blog, and I go, that's what Chloe does. Or I talk to a client, they go, man, we love Bridget, or we love Kelsey, right? And all these things that people give compliments or comments about Wellable, it's never the stuff that I do. It's always the people that are really behind the scenes in many ways, really building our company. And to Kit's point, it allows you to focus on stuff, right? So for you to ever succeed, you're going to need to have that level of focus, and you need to have trust and really talented and smart and challenging people that are kind of behind your vision, that believe in your company, and I feel very blessed to have that. The second point I make is kind of what Derek mentioned on customers. The only caveat or the only thing I think about there is the old Henry Ford line. If I ask my customers what they wanted, I get a faster horse, right? And so I always think about, what does my customer really need? What's that problem they're trying to solve? And many times they think very myopically, right? Not trying to bash our customers, but they think, well, my specific company has this specific problem that we're trying to resolve, and that is a part of a 12-year legacy that we launched this one thing here, and it ended up that way, or all of our employees are in one location or in multiple locations, and that doesn't necessarily scale, right? So when we have our customer conversations, we're really thinking about, what are your problems, right? Not necessarily what you want. Our goal is to identify those problems across a broad base of customers. Obviously, we need to be economically viable, so we try to make sure that problem really persists across the board in some type of scalable way. And can we deliver a solution that really resolves or addresses that problem? The one thing, I'll go to Shakti's second question. I feel like no one's talked about the scientific piece. I'll talk about it in the wellness industry, because I think, at least for us, we largely define who we are as much by what we do as well as what we don't do, right? So the wellness industry is comprised of so many different resources out there. You can get into the merits on whether things make sense or don't make sense for individuals, or in the corporate environment, which is just different in general. And so we often define ourselves by what we don't do. And so in the interesting kind of pop culture or business type reference, yesterday, everyone or most people have heard about the JV between Amazon, JP Morgan, Berkshire Hathaway, right? This company, when it first announced, had no plan of what they were going to do, and everyone said it's going to change the world, right? They finally announced their CEO yesterday, who will be based in Boston. The whole start will be based in Boston, and it's Atul Gawande, who's a surgeon at Brigham and Women's, right? So huge deal. He got announced, and I thought about what made Atul or Dr. Gawande really popular. What made him kind of rise to fame? It was this 2009 article that he wrote that is famous, because Barack Obama was running around the White House saying, this is why healthcare is wrong. Just based on this one kind of article in the New Yorker, and he talked about not about things that we need to do in healthcare, but the things we need to take out of healthcare, right? So he went to the most expensive county from a Medicare perspective, and the most expensive state, which is Texas, so it's McAllen, Texas, and he said, why are Medicare patients doing 4x the cost of typical Medicare patients? And he found out it was overprescribing, misuse of procedures, and things like that. So I read that article, that announcement, thinking about, again, not to get to the specifics about what works and what doesn't, but really around, there are things out there that when you find who you are, it often inspires what you don't do as well. And a lot of clinical things from a scientific perspective may not always make sense.
So I didn't start Inside Tracker, but I joined the company about 2 years ago. And so a lot of great points have already been made. So maybe I'll just speak a little bit to how I broke in, my personal experience. I was in finance beforehand for just over 4 years. And really the reason that I think I was able to break in is because my passion has always been in nutrition and health and fitness, but it really was born out of a personal struggle to find a solution to a problem, which was I didn't know how I should be eating or how I should be exercising. And as I mentioned before, there's so much conflicting and misinformation that's out there. And so I was really looking for something that could make sense of it all. And so I think that when you do something and are trying to accomplish something that's really born out of some sort of personal struggle, First of all, there's passion there and motivation, but I think for me it also allows me to personally connect with a lot of our customers and partners and really understand the problems that they're hoping to solve and how we can help them solve them, because those are problems that I've had personally in my life as well. So to the extent that it's possible, it's not always possible, but to really find a problem that you have and you believe in and to attack it, I think that's probably the reason a lot of entrepreneurs